Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Super-Fanta-Fi. This being a show where we talk about TV shows of supernatural fantasy and or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Legacies. A lot of interesting things, so let's break this episode down. I love the fact of the matter is they're chasing after the urn, they're looking at all these signs around, and it's like, oh, it's obviously some plague-like stuff, so they know where to kind of go next. And so it ends up being like, oh yeah, Dorian, you and me are going to go, search for this urn, but Dorian's like, oh man, I want to spend time with Emma, and say, hey, why don't we go along? Why don't she bring her along? And then Lark's like, oh yeah, that's great. And it's like, I was like, oh man. And then he brings Caleb along. It's like, for him, it's like, oh, I want to bring you along just because I don't want to leave you here alone because of the whole blood thing. Like, you might try and drink some human blood while I'm away, plus I don't want MG having any bad influence, because apparently Caleb didn't want to be around his family and dysfunctional and all that. It's just too much drama and stuff like that. What I thought was kind of interesting, I was like, is that the real reason why you're doing that, or is it just because you don't want to be left alone with Emma and Dorian? I thought he was bringing someone else along. I didn't realize that Lizzie, Josie, and Hope were going too. So I was like, oh, so Caleb isn't necessarily the third wheel in that. I mean, he is later on when they're alone, because he's like, how did I get stuck with like the old people? And he's like, yeah, I guess I'm just a third wheel kind of dealing with this awkwardness. And like, there's nothing awkward between it. What? But I love that it's a section in the episode of just them on a road trip singing, Beer on the Wall, and just the sandwiches, and Josie getting car sick and throwing up and stuff like that, and just Caleb just being like, ugh. I love it. It's such a little nice road trip thing, and Lizzie constantly being like, are we there yet? Starting stuff with Hope and stuff like that, which that plays a big role in this, but I'll get to that soon enough. But I loved it. It turns out the bad guy in this episode was a mummy. I love how they kind of concocted everything, because they knew that the mummy was most likely connected to the scarab. So, like, as long as the scarab was still intact, the mummy could keep coming back whenever it needed to. But they used that to their advantage, because they were using that lady to steal the urn while everyone was distracted. I also love that when Caleb was, like, using his powers on people and stuff like that. I even love him being like, oh, you want me to use my vampire powers? Oh, okay, cool. But I want to hear you say it. And Lark's like, not a chance. He's like, fine, whatever. But when he's compelling people, he's also helping them, because that lady, he's like, also that perfume's not covering it up. Rather than trying to cover it up, why don't you go home, throw away that last pack, and just quit? I just love that. And he was helping the other dudes, like, yo, go in there, tell your bosses to give you a raise and stuff like that. It's like, wow, because it's so interesting. Because to me, Caleb starts off kind of seeming like a dick in the beginning, but now you kind of say like, oh man, you have the opportunity, you're actually helping people out and stuff like that. That's pretty cool of you. I love that. That was so good. Mummy was taken care of and everything. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Like, I had a feeling that it was Josie. Like, because we diving into it, we find out like Lizzie's hated Hope for a long time, and now we kind of find out why. Because for her, she blames Hope for a lot of stuff. It's like, oh, because a fire got set. The fact of the matter is, I didn't get to spend time with Dad. The fact is, we got sick because of you. It's like, no, the girl that we were working on our project with, she literally had pneumonia, and it's like Lizzie has harbored such hate for Hope that like every little thing that even wasn't Hope's fault would end up getting blamed on her. But every time Josie would kind of try and change the subject, so I'm like, whatever the problem is, like between Hope and Lizzie, it's her fault, because I knew it confirmed it the moment she did the fire spell. Because I'm like, the fact is, that spell and it was a fire star. I was like, I guess Lizzie didn't put two and two together, because it's like, there's no way Josie would be a part of that. I'm sure that's probably why it just didn't even cross her mind to even think that. But I was like, why is that though? I was like, does she? Because it turns out like Lizzie's big issue with Hope, it's like she had one of her episodes when she was younger, and she was like, and you went behind my back when my mom took me away to kind of help me and everything. You went behind my back and told everyone. And Hope is like, why would I do that? I would never do anything like that. Also, like the fire thing, why would I do that? Because that fire burned away half of her stuff, which included a painting she did with Klaus. And it's like, that's something she can never get back, so why would she? Because for her, it's like, I might have been a little jealous of you because you actually had a full-blown family. Her family was kind of, well, because this was also back when she was younger. So this was, when she was, Klaus wasn't in her life because of the whole, like, well, I'm assuming it's, because it's the early days at the school. So it had to be like basically around season 4 of the originals. So like, you know, Klaus wasn't in her life, but it's like you had your dad in your life, and it's like I wanted that. So yeah, maybe I was a little jealous of you, but I'd never do that if it ended with that happening. Something probably like one of the last things she has to remind her of her dad, you know. Because she also brings it up later on. It's like the fact of the matter is, coming from the crazy family she does, like with her grandfather and her dad, it's like I would never, you know, because it's like, you know, I have plenty of issues of my own in that regard, so I would never like air your stuff out like that. And it's like, but where did you hear that from? And it's like, she heard it from Josie. So that's why I was like, so does Josie secretly hate Hope? I was like, oh, did she do that because like maybe in her own way she saw Lizzie and Hope getting close and wanted to kind of keep them separate? It's like, is that what that's about? It's like, no, it's the complete opposite. She had a thing for Hope. She had a big crush on Hope, and she had left a note in her room, but then she immediately regretted. She was like, no. But she couldn't get back in there, so she tried to burn the note and ended up setting a fire. The reason why she didn't want Lizzie to know was because Lizzie has a tendency to go after everyone that she cares about. Like anytime Josie is into anyone, it's kind of like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, Lizzie ends up going after them first and getting them. Because we saw that happen with the whole Raphael situation. She was kind of into Raphael, so that, and I thought that was kind of interesting, and it's kind of sad that you have that mentality where it's like you're afraid to like someone because you're afraid your sister's going to like just snatch them up from you, you know? Because we still don't 100% know what exactly went down between Penelope and Josie that ended up with them breaking up, whether, because it seemed like I'm not sure, because it seemed like Penelope did that, but I'm pretty sure, like, I mean, we can all surmise that it was because of Lizzie just being such an issue, and Josie always just kind of bending to what Lizzie wanted, you know. So I think that was kind of, that's insinuated, but we don't know for sure. So, but it's kind of sad, and that's why there's such beef between them. It's like, and I'm sure Josie kind of feels guilty too, because it's like, she probably didn't think about it because she was so young and everything like that, but not realizing that that's what started all of this. So that was really interesting to kind of dive into that, though. It's like, it does beg the question, like, will things change now? Because that one thing, that misconception, like that thought that, like, oh, Hope's the one that started all that, is what harbored all her hate towards Hope. But now that she knows that's not the truth, I'm curious, like, is that actually going to be better for their relationship? Will we see them actually be on good terms now? They'll probably butt heads a lot because both of them are extremely stubborn. But the fact is, you know, I don't know. It's kind of interesting to see what ends up happening in that regard. There's also the whole Clark situation of, because it is interesting, him being there, running into them and everything. Really quickly, I also love, like, oh yeah, this is my wife Emma, these are my daughters, and this is, and then Josie and Lizzie saying at the same time, my boyfriend, and Caleb's like, I mean, you know, when you got it, you got it. I'm like, oh, dude, it's, but the fact is that, I wonder, does he know that they don't remember? I don't know if he knows that they showed up at tryout. I mean, to be fair, they never, I mean, why would he know? Because they never actually made it inside a facility, so there was no cameras or anything like that. So why would he know that they made it to the facility? So, because I was like, he didn't put 2 and 2 together like that, but, you know, Hope did. Because I was thinking, like, wouldn't he think, like, oh, is the reason why he's playing dumb is because he didn't know that. I was thinking, like, maybe he thought their memories were wiped or something like that, but it's like he didn't even know they made it to the facility. But Hope is like, no, I remember and everything, which that's also another thing too. Once again, I forgot, that's still something we still don't know. Why is it that Hope remembers but no one else does? I guess it's just because she is once again, I guess a tribrid, like being all 3 of the supernaturals. I mean, I guess it's connected, you know, like she's this tribrid, and so is like this whole triad, you know, company. So it's like, yeah, there's a lot there. So maybe her being what she is kind of gave her immunity. Is kind of the thought I've been having, but we still don't really know why that is. Because it's interesting, because let's not forget, whatever Landon's situation is, now that I'm thinking about it in retrospect, because I was thinking like, oh, no magic affects him. It's like, well, whatever Malivore is affects him. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know. It's just kind of interesting, but maybe that's, I don't know. I've thrown up, a thoughts and theory video about what I think, Landon's whole situation is. So it makes me go like, I wonder, that kind of takes out the whole maybe anti-magic thing. Potentially, maybe. That depends on if the Malivore thing, it might be something stronger and older than even magic, So that might not be the case. The whole anti-magic thing might still stand, but nevertheless, I love that they almost got away with the urn and everything, but like Clark's not an idiot, so he snatched up Dorian and Emma and ended up using them as leverage to get the urn. But he was supposed to lock it away because it's like Mrs. G is kind of like apparent. So he isn't like, because he did say like he's a deputy agent, but he's not like the top dog. I should have figured as much, because they even made a point to be like, oh, he doesn't have the clearance and stuff like that. But it's like we get a little hint at who's at the top, but it's like, huh. I also love that he made a threat towards Alaric too, because he's like, oh yeah, you basically like, oh, you do your job at that school and everything, because he's looked into it, and it's like, yeah, you basically, it's like, oh, you reign in the supernatural, we won't have to worry about coming after them. But the fact is that he's like, I hope that one day I don't have to get an assignment where I come after you in your school, because none of us would really want that. And it's just like Alaric just looks at him. Now I'm thinking about it too. I love Alaric standing in front of the girls. He's like, I got this. No, I have to protect you. And then Hope is like, that's nice and everything, but literally you and your arrow, your bow and arrow are like man spreading in front of 3 powerful witches. And he's like, good point. And he gets behind him. I just love that. It's just funny to me just how that ended up playing out like that. But then, getting back to it, the whole thing with Clark, that's interesting. He wants Malivore to get unlocked. It's like, but why? But then my brain starts thinking like, what if it's going to be like, because the whole thought is like, obviously Landon's like a child of Malivore. Once again, his mom got pregnant when she went into Malivore, and by the time she came out, she was pregnant. So what if that's whatever Landon's situation is, what if that's true for Clark as well? What if he is actually like, if Landon's a child of Malivore, maybe so is Clark potentially. I don't know. That'd be interesting. Like, why else would you do that? I mean, Malivore is supposed to be like hell. Like it is once again, like, because Alaric explains it to Caleb of being like hell for like a supernatural apocalypse. So not unless he's planning on wiping out all the supernaturals or what, I don't know. Like I said, that depends on whatever Landon's situation is. Maybe it's true for Clark, or maybe he's just some human that's tired of the supernatural and wants them all to be wiped out, which would involve a lot of people. Dorian and Emma's situation, which like even that whole like awkwardness between Emma and Alaric, I love like them being in the car and everything, and he's just geeking out about it. And even Caleb's like the bugs and everything, and he's like, man, dude, you were losing your damn, you're geeking out, getting geekier by the second. And Emma's there freaking out. I love that, like, because normally she's cool, calm, and collected anytime we see her, and now seeing her freaking out about bugs, and just like the fact that she points out that it's connected to something from her childhood or something, I'm like, one of the future monsters is going to be like a giant bug or something, isn't it? I mean, maybe this is going to be the only monster that deals with bugs, but it's like, I feel like we're going to dive into why she hates bugs as much as she does. Maybe it just kind of just happens like a thing of like a giant bug landed on her crawl. I mean, it's kind of interesting too, because it's also like, yeah, you literally had to deal with the whole parasite thing last episode too, so now you have to deal with this. But she's flipping out and stuff like that. The hazmat dude comes knocking on her door, she's screaming, she's like, ah! And she's like, oh crap. It's just so interesting seeing her like that. But it's sad that, Emma's like, oh, my mind's made up. The fact is, I was confused before. She admits to kissing Alaric, and I was like, oh, I thought Dorian would be a little more pissed than he was. But then he was like, was Alaric, had a slug in his ear? And it's like, nope. And so Dorian punches Alaric in the face and leaves. And he's like, I quit. And it's like, jeez. Which, to be fair, and somewhat in his defense, Alaric didn't know it was you that Emma was dating. The fact of the matter is, he knew she was dating someone, so it doesn't completely excuse him. But it's like, if he knew it was you, he definitely wouldn't have done it. He didn't know it was you until y'all kissed in front of him last episode. So there's that. But and I guess for Dorian, it's still the fact is that this entire time you could have told me the truth, but you didn't. And it's like, at least Emma has an excuse because she was slugged up, but you had none. That means that you making a move on my girl, which once again, it's like he didn't know that was your girl, So it's sad, but it's just kind of like, I'm very interested to see what that means. I don't know if he's giving Emma another chance, or is he just leaving in general, like leaving it all behind in that regard, Because I guess for him, it's also like, the fact is that you harbor feelings for my girl. Not only did you not tell me about the kiss, but that means this entire time you've been feeling that way about her. I mean, I guess because we don't know when Emma and Dorian started dating. Like, she said, she made it seem like recently, but it could have been over the course of this series so far that they started dating. I don't know. It's just kind of sad that things kind of have come to that. Like I said, I'm curious to see what this means going forward, because like Alaric, like Dorian is like the one person Alaric can always count on to have. He's a friend. They've been through so much together, and so, you know, probably feeling like he betrayed his friend and stuff like that. You know, it's just. I mean, the sad thing is you can't help who you like. It's love triangles are all over the place now. You know, so it's just kind of interesting to me. Because, like I said, now we find out about the whole, like, Josie potentially having, like, crushing on Hope. I even love that. It was kind of cute for her being, Hope was like, you had a crush on me? She's like, yeah, who wouldn't? Kind of being like, you're amazing. Which Hope is, you know? So, I don't know. It's pretty cool. I mean, in that regard. But obviously, like I said, the love triangle situations everywhere else. Because let's not forget, there's the whole Landon and Raphael situation when it comes to Hope. So I'm very interested to see what goes down in the next episode. I mean, you know, what the next key is going to be to unlocking Malivore. Once again, what Landon's connection to this is. What is Clark's whole deal in all of this as well. We'll just have to wait and see. But really, that's all I'm going to talk about in this episode. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.